and then I'll start with the mainly the definition, my understanding of the Enneagram, and then we'll ask each one to explain what your understanding, and then we'll go into slowly the chapter. So as I mentioned, we will be reading two books as our initial reference. First one is this volume 1, which I posted in our WhatsApp group. The second one, The Secrets of the Symbol Unveiled, the first book in my list of 5 books. So the first book is The Secrets of the Unveil, for which the chapter 1 I just sent the PDF, and chapter 6 I already sent it also PDF, just the image, the copy. So I sent that, and so mainly our focus will be these 2 books for maybe first 2-3 sessions, depending on how fast we want to go versus we need to digest it and practice it. So my main goal is, if we do fortnightly, we might be able to have a bit faster in the originally first 5 or 6 sessions. We understand how to use this diagram and know the self. And once we know the self, then we identify a state, just like as you know, you can identify which personality you are. Here we find out our state, just like as you found that you want to work on virtues versus vices. So how do you know which one is your first problem to come to the center? Main objective is to come to the centering. So it's a self-renewal. So continuous self-renewal is the main activity. So we will be mainly focusing on that. Tadbiratul Ilahiyya, I posted that as well. That is one of the Ibn Arabi book, Tadbiratul Ilahiyya. The another book is, which I haven't posted there, that is called Kitab Kunho. It is the what the seeker needs. Ibn Arabi's another book for the murid. So that is another good book, which we are giving a lecture in Bengali, English and Bengali, on it in Mamiya's next week, next Friday. So that is about, it talks about, and I'll send you the link. There is an Arabic page. There is a 33 steps Ibn Arabi proposed for a murid to look after, to watch how you do how do you watch your thoughts, and how do you need to be aware and how Shaitan play tricks with you. So those sort of things are mentioned there, and Enneagram will help us to work on each of the traits and balancing. Bringing balance is the main objective. That's how my understanding. So now to understand the basics of this diagram, which is, I'll do my screen share, which is basically here. And just go into that book. This is the book where basically, of course, this one, this is the diagram we will be looking into. So that diagram is in the in the chapter 1 I sent. So this is the diagram we'll be looking into. So and this circle, the basic definition is there. The circle is the basically the way Ibn Arabi explained in the Tadbiratul Ilahiyah, Ibn Arabi explained that um, this this is the quotation Lale Bakhtiar quoted. So I'll read this whole quotation that describe what this circle is in that Enneagram, why that circle is there. So it says, this is from Tadbiratul Ilahiyah, O follower of the path of truth, if you look deeply into the divine secrets, you will find that you yourself are the source of divine wisdom. The Sufis call this source the center of the circle. A person once asked a Sufi in which direction to go. O Sufi. So there is the question, which direction to go? Where is the wisdom that hidden in the seen, this Zahir world? It is within the circle of the unseen. That is the answer. It is within the circle of the unseen. If I can't find it, is there one like it? This is another question. And then he said, you may find bits of it. You have to connect it. The beginning is the truth of which we know little because it is hidden in a blinding light. Beginning is the truth of which we know little because it is hidden in a blinding light. So that truth is hidden in a blinding light. It is spread within 4 dimensions, each overwhelming the other. 4 dimension. Yeah, 4 dimension, and we'll talk about those 4 dimensions later. All meet at a center called the spirit. So that is the answer, the center, and that center is the spirit, and the circle ends at the top where it began. Circle ends at the top where it began. So the spirit is the center. Now circle is starting, the end is at the top, so it goes and start. So where it ends, where it started, basically anti-clockwise, the way we do our tawaf, which is anti-clockwise. From the Hajar Aswad, we start our journey and then we come back to Hajar Aswad. There's a marker there. So that is the, 2 sides and the up and down, the vertical and the horizon. So and the circle is at the center of the cross, vertical and the horizon. Okay. So anyway, the circle ends at the top where it began. Drop by drop, it collects, but there is always a first drop. The art is in it and all the power of other drops. If you ask about the ocean, it is contained within the drop. It is contained within the drop. So a human life flows in it. It floats the first to eternal union of the end, and the beginning is God's gift, the truth. My advice to those who wish to follow this path is the following. This is Ibn Arabi talking. My advice, so he is giving us advice. Advice is know that what we call God's deputy, the spirit, is the center of the circle of all existence. So our spirit is the center of our existence, and the center, which is the Kaaba, is the center of the earth, And the Baitul Mamur, which is the spiritual Kaaba, center of Kaaba is the spiritual, the entire arsh. The arsh is invisible, which is encompass the entire visible universe. Visible universe is encircled with the invisible universe. Same way, our visible self is encircled with the invisible self. We are visible self. The body we see is the visible self, but there is another self which is the invisible self. That's what I mentioned about this lataif. So those lataifs are the invisible selves, various energy center or the focal points. Anyway, know that what we call God's deputy, the spirit, is the center of the circle of all existence. God entrusted it with his honored state because he knew its potential to rule in justice. Justice within the domain of each individual human being. And as you know, we'll come back to it because coming to the center is the justice. And that justice is saying, is the one we have been, God entrusted it with this honored state. That is the state we have been entrusted with because he knew its potential to rule in justice within the domain of each individual human being. And this is what Adam had prayed, Rabbana zulumna anfusana. That zulum was the injustice he did to his nafs. And that's why he had to seek forgiveness. Anfusana wa illam takfir lana, right? So that's what main objective. Any zulum we are doing means we are doing injustice to our soul, and that's what our objective of this self-development is, so that we can always bring us back to the justice. What moved the Lord to make it his deputy? Basically, why God made us his deputy, Khalifa, inni jailun fil ardi Khalifa. So that Khilafat is the deputy. So what moved the Lord, what make it his deputy was this quality of justice. Without it, it would have remained a dot upon this circumference. So that dot which started at the top and then it ends and at the same point, he said that that dot wouldn't have moved. It wouldn't have moved. It will stay on the circumference all the time. Circumference is our body. So in a state, God took the spirit from the circumference and placed it at the center of the sphere. So we are originally on the circumference, but God put it at the center. So the proof of the characteristics of justice at the center is that all the radii from the center to the points of the circumference are equal. Equality is the justice. So one nafsa wama sawaha, that sawiya, that equality is the main thing. So circumference, equality is the justice. That's what he's saying. He's saying that from the center circumference, all the radii are equal value. So that means it is justice. If a circle is to be drawn, the center is an absolute necessity. Thus, the center is the cause of the circle. No matter how big a circle or a sphere be, its measurement depends upon the center. The circle exists because of its center. The body exists because of the spirit. And I'll go back to a few things about it. The center is the guide, the commander. Center is the guide, the commander. Without this, there is neither circle nor sphere. God existed forever, nothing was with him. Nothing was with him. We know about that hadith. God existed forever, nothing was with him. Spreading his arms and legs as radii. Spreading his arms and legs as radii, he described the circle of existence, a symbol of unending generosity and indivisible unity. Indivisible unity, which we know it will come back. Indivisibility will come later. And then the tip of one of his hands reaches to the top of the circle. That is the sacred, secret realm of angel. So, did I? Okay. Okay, so we haven't finished the quote yet. Still, we are reading the quotation. So the tip of one of his hands reaches to the top of the circle. That is the secret realm of angels. One of his feet reaches the bottom of the circle. That is the realm of material. So first, the top of the circle, the angelic realm, and one of his feet teaches the bottom of the circle. That is the realm of material, visible existence. The latter is the realm where God's order of right and wrong resides. The former are the levels of beginning of creation. So I don't know any of you have had a chance to, or are do you know aware of this book translated by Stephen Harnstein? It's called Alchemy of Human Happiness, the chapter 367 of Futuhat. Ibn Arabi called it Kimia Sada, that chapter. So that chapter is the Ibn Arabi Mehraj. And so it has a lot of information about, we will be discussing in Enneagram as well. So I have the PDF, I'll send it, but I didn't want it to overwhelm you with so much material which will not be needed at this stage. So anyway, over there, he gave clear description of this particular little paragraph about, he said at the top of the circle and bottom of the circle. And then he talked about the right and wrong. So this arsh, which is the invisible circle, and then kursi is the footstool where there's a 2 feet, qadam al-sidq and qadam al-jabarut. And that is this duality. So that duality, the right and wrong, will be more clarified in that book, this Alchemy of Happiness. Anyway, God covers all, knows all, and addresses his creation, saying, I have created you from nothing, even as you were before your creation. So, this is also mentioned in Quranic verse where we were nothing, right? The hand of God does not move, but the circumference rotates. May God shed light upon your inner eye and show you the divine signs. And those are all, we will be talking about science quite a lot in this particular study. And then may the truth shed light upon your path. If you would see and understand his signs and his qualities, you would find such beautiful names. And if you wished to enumerate them, they would not fit into the space within which you exist. So as you know that there is a Quranic verse also that is you cannot enumerate, right? Because it's infinite and you cannot fit infinite into finite. So then you would see the honor and grace bestowed upon you in comparison to the rest of the creation. So that is the quotation, basically giving us idea about the circle. And then about the overall diagram, the diagram I'm talking about, that Enneagram diagram, it explained here. It says that one of the traditional art forms that is a reflection of the spirit in the world of matter. The way Ghazali explains what the spirit is, he said that touch your top of your head. This is in his book called Kimia Saadat. Touch your feet, touch your top of your head. Do you feel the tip that you're touching with your finger? You immediately sensed, right? You sensed that your finger touched the top of your head. Your body immediately acknowledged. And then you see that touch the tip of your toe. So if you touch tip of your toe, and that also acknowledged by your brain, right? So this is your physical boundary. So your physical boundary, your soul immediately know with your touch sense, your touch tip of your head, and then tip of your toes, top of your head and tip of your toes. So that is your physical boundary. So that is the physical boundary of your soul, which is your circumference, and that is your bodily dimension. But of course, you have the spiritual dimension, which my understanding I will share, but just read this paragraph again. Say that reflection of the spirit. So that is the reflection. This body is the reflection. Because you can't see your spirit, but you can see what your spirit look like, because God gave a form. That is your body is the form of your spirit. And that is the art we are talking about, divine art, sacred art. So God has, he said, I, my two hands, there is a Quranic verse that, oh shaitan, what make you not to worship this Adam? I make him with my two hands, because only human is the one made out of two hands. Rest of the creation is done by one hand. This is Ibn Arabi talks about this two hand versus one hand in his another book, which is called Ruhul Quds. That's another book related to this. I'll bring it when it's needed. In Arabic group, we did read the whole Arabic Ruhul Quds. So I have some videos available. And again, an Egyptian friend led that group in the beginning. His name is Khaled Abdu, and he's a Sufi. So he helped us understand this Ruhul Quds, and that is translated in English partially. One part is translated by Austin as a Sufis of Andalusia. Another part is not published yet, but translated by Jane Clark. So we had a 7-day retreat on it. So that's another course which is available for people to study. And there is a lecture on it by Jane Clark in the Ibn Arabi channel. Anyway, so here, one of the traditional art forms that is reflection of the spirit in the world of matter is the Sufi Enneagram. That is what main thing we are going to study. Basically, or as the Sufis refer to it, signs of God's presence. So God's presence is that diagram. And now we will come to see the immutable principles of heavenly origin and their application to different moments of time and space. So different moments of time and space will be reflected in this diagram, in this art form, a symbol that speaks to the presiding idea. As an art form, It is among the most important and direct manifestations of the two principles of tradition, and that is the origin and center, and contains within its symbols of metaphysical and cosmological significance. So this, just like my body shows how my inner and outer condition is, my face has a lot of signs. Yeah, I am my mood. I don't know whether you know about this psychological explanation of this shashet, the sad, anger. Those we can go into it later. So that I'll send that diagram. We have a happy and unhappy. There's a two mode. Um, so I'll share that diagram later. That is normal, inner outer dimension. Um, how you read your face based on those sachet diagram. That's a psychological inner and outer. Especially, I don't know whether you're familiar with the thing called EQ, emotional quotient. So that there is a lot of books written on it, emotional quotient. So that sachet is part of emotional quotient. So we'll come back to it. But at this stage, what is the goal? And that's what here in this explain. Whereas the mystical dimension is most often described as a spiritual journey, the moral dimension is described as a spiritual warfare. So a struggle, the greater struggle, Jihad al-Akbar, the struggle within. So, and that is the struggle to be to bring justice at the center. So we have all these tools: self-restraint, temperament, self-esteem. So this particular one will give us a lot of parameters, and then here also various parameters, but wisdom is at the center. So wisdom, so there will be various things. There are many copies of this with various poem and description which will come on this, and then what are the things surfacing, it will be explained. And as you see here, various vices, the hypocrisy versus ignorance versus greediness versus, so various things, how it affect our behavior and our cognition. So it will, so the to bring balance and justice at the center is the main goal. So that's what they're talking about, the struggle within. The greater struggle has been best experienced through spiritual chivalry. And there is a book, I don't know whether you know about this spiritual chivalry. There is two books generally I like. One is the Sulami, the spiritual, the Futua. So there is one of his book. Another one is Kushairi's Lataif. So those two books, I'll bring reference as well. I have the PDF, I'll share it with you, but not now, later. So this struggle takes place between two basic aspects of our nature: our animal soul, nafsa ammara, our ego, the idol within, or the passions, and our ability through enhanced free will and conscience to hold sway over them with a balanced sense of reason, nafs mutmainna. So this is what Ruhul Quddus Ibn Arabi is talking to his soul, and he explained various things to his soul. And in that book, he is arguing with his ego and convincing ego to how ego was convinced and how ego gave a surrender the ego. He explained all those processes. He himself talked about so many things with his ego, and that is the beautiful book to read. We will discuss it as a part of this. Anyway, this process begins with the realization that the idol, the ego, within is a false god, a satanic energy. So that is the one we have to deal with. It is painful and arduous struggle within to strengthen our free will and conscience so that our conscience verifies our creator, while our free will voluntarily chooses humility before God and his creature. Humility before God and his creature. And she will be teaching us with a lot of stories from Rumi. And that is there is a separate book called Spiritual Warfare, and there is some diagram, three videos. So that spiritual warfare will give examples how various people dealt with their spiritual struggle, how dealt with wife, how dealt with a colleague, how dealt with son, how dealt with various examples. And Rumi gave them, and she quoted most of them in that book. There is a book on Rumi, how you use Rumi's stories to do inner development, and that is book also written by Lale Bakhtiar. I just have ordered it because I originally didn't have it, so it's on way from Amazon. So anyway, so basically, so how you use humility to make your ego to bow down, and there is a lot of beautiful examples there. And then so he's saying that it is painful and arduous struggle within within to strengthen our free will and conscience so that our conscience verifies our creator, while our free will voluntarily chooses humility before God and his creatures. Spiritual chivalry requires a great deal of self-discipline and self-restraint to seduce our passions and redirect them to serve God instead of our ego. So that is our objective, basically, to bring the ego, basically to tame it, And Ibn Arabi talking about mount. Mount means, he said that mm, my my heart, lakat sara qalbi qalban, that particular line, that poem in Tarjuman al-Ashwaq, that my heart is capable of taking all the forms. So there he said that wherever my mount takes me, I go there. Basically, mount is our body. So our body is the one which works, but submitting the body at the commanding power of the spirit. I don't know, there is a prayer Ibn Arabi included in his Wednesday prayer. This is the prayer he asked us to pray. He said, Allahumma inni as'aluka billahut, billahut zid tadbir. Allahumma inni as'aluka billahut zid tadbir wa nasut zid taskhir. So we have two selves. The one self is the lahutiya, another self is the nasutiya. And he's saying that, oh Allah, give the governing power, governing divine nature over the and the subservient human nature. So he's saying that governing divine power, divine nature, so the divine nature, which is the spirit has to have a governing nature, and the nasutiya, which is our lower self, that is the one always need to be subservient. And that is the thing in chapter 31, Ibn Arabi is talking about the mount. The rider will be the spirit. Rider will be the spirit, but mount is the one which will do all the humility. So mount is the one which carries us wherever God wants to go. God wants us to go. So that is the part. And here self-discipline and self-restraint. So subdue our passion and redirect them to serve God instead of our ego. So, and it is dying before we die, di- dying in order to live. As Rumi asks, can bread give strength unless it be broken? That's what it is. You can't eat the whole bread without breaking it, right? So that's what it is. We have to do. Anyway, so with that, I'll go into uh, this part of this book, which is basically it goes through briefly this diagram with some numbering scheme. It's called circle of self-renewal. It has 0, and then divine essence is symbolized by 0 in the sense that it is above knowing. So as you see here, 0, divine essence is symbolized by 0 in the sense that it is above knowing. And then dot, it has a value of 1, and the point 1 generates this circle of self-renewal of the greater jihad. Jihad symbolizes one unity, the principle and origin of all numbers. The point also symbolizes the self-centered injustice when self has received divine assistance. So this is main thing Ibn Arabi mentioned, that you cannot win your ego unless there is a grace from there. Anything you want to get rid of, you have no power to get rid of unless you receive this divine assistance. Attain balance in wisdom, courage, and temperance. So these are the 3 things we needed to do: wisdom, courage, and temperance to attain balance and benefited another human being um, because of self-balance. So when you have a self-balance, then only you can benefit the others. So the value for the dot is 1, and then dot become line, and that's when the number is 2. The point moves and generates the line, then forms the segment. So we will have 3 segments and we'll discuss those segments. So 0, 1, 2 is a number, and then number 3, the threefold division of the circle divides the self, our self, into 3 basic parts, which operate at 6 different levels. So she's going to explain those threefold division of the circle. One is the divine spirit, another is called preserve species, and preserve individual. We will explain those things later. As you see here, divine spirit, intellect, cognition, brain, capable of consciousness. So these are the item, and then number 6. So 6 levels. As you see, level 1, spiritual, biological. So that is the level 1. That level 1 has these 3 item. And then level 2 is the psychological item. And as you see, intellect, and the attraction to, and then which gives pleasure, avoidance, which is harm, pain. So our body inform us through pain, various things it's receiving, and with also our body informs us about pleasure. So we needed to be mindful of pleasure versus pain. When you pain, you withdraw, avoid. When you give joy, enjoy it and say thanks to Allah. That's all you have to give. And the level 2 is the cognition. So affective, emotive. So through behaviors, we bring the affect. We first understand and then we change our behavior to bring the effect. So emotion is also a signal, which, when those six I said, happy, happy and sad, positive emotion and negative emotion in that EQ, the SHET. So those, depending on the which emotion you are sensing, you need to make a behavioral change so that you change the effect in you are experiencing. If someone said you something to make you angry, you have to understand why you felt anger. Someone violated your expectation. Someone violated your expectation that make you angry. But if in the angered moment, if you act, then you will be destroyed. But when you are anger, if you can control your anger, then you are in control. But if anger person loses his control, then he lost. So that's where the catch is, um, because there is an example. I don't know, Katina, you will know the Wayne Dyer is also a psychological self-help book writer. So he generally give examples like, he said that if you are an orange, and if you squeeze it, what orange give you? Juice, because that's what orange is made for. If you squeeze orange, it gives you juice. Now, if someone squeezes you and anger comes out of you, that means you are full of anger. You still needed to reduce your anger so that when someone squeezes you, you still can control your anger. There is an example of Buddha, which I'll share later. He is proactivity, because he immediately know when someone make him angry what to do. So those sort of technique we can use later. I'll explain those because I have written a paper, because my field is in project management. So in that project management, I gave a paper, and then how I manage my team to, and when I find a difficult person making me angry or any of my team member angry, how we needed to um, deal with it so that difficult person doesn't win, and we have to tame the difficult person to stay within the team boundary. So that's what things we have to do. Our body, arms, legs, our tongue, those are the things of our member. So you have to work as a team. But when your angry mind pushes your hand and you couldn't control it, then this team member will bring damage for you. So that's what we have to use our tongue in such a way. And there is a big book, I don't know whether you know about Ghazali. Ghazali wrote 200 books in Ilya Ulumuddin. And one of the book is on the tongue. If you want, I'll share that as well, because he has so much strategy how to manage your tongue. And this is such a beautiful book as well. Anyway, so number 3, psychological, brain, liver, heart, and then the psychology is dependent on it. And this is what that chapter 6 is about, how vital energy and natural energy and those sort of things will come to it. So that is on this particular psychological, and there is a discussions about it. And then physiological, source of energy. And then cognitive is the one, number 5 is here. And then number 6 is the psychoethics. This is what main focus is for this self-renewal. Psychoethics is where we will be given a lot of teaching by Lale Bakhtiar. And here, this is the heart. which has the center of level 6 marks the center of triangle, symbolizes justice. The positive trait that develops when the self is balanced in other 3 traits. And this then forms a triangle within threefold division where justice falls in the center. These 4 positive traits symbolize the psychoethics given to the self by nature in its mode of operation. Their being is balanced and symbolized by star. They put star in this, and centeredness takes place within the positive trait and symbolizing movement towards the center. And of each of these, the 3 segments is at its respective center. And then this number 7 is this whole diagram, and it actually explains how the movement of change, growth, restoration to health is indicated by the number 7. And it explains actually how those number 7 is such a critical thing. We'll come into it as symbol of the movement in the universe, the renewal within the self, and how this is linked to the entire universe. Because our human is the microcosm. Human is the microcosm, and you will find that the way we are related to our body is related to the earth. Earth is related to the entire solar system, and solar system is related to the entire other worlds. So that's how my body is related to the earth, because those 4 elements, this earth, air, fire, and water, those 4 elements, basic elements, is related to earth. And then earth is related to the solar system, and solar system is related to the entire universe. So that is the microcosm. We are microcosm versus macrocosm, the entire universe. And 2/3 of the earth is water, i.e. fluid. Same way, 2/3 of ourself is part of alam al khayal. 2/3 of our body, meaning our human dimension, 2/3 is alam al khayal. Same way, 2/3 of the earth is fluid, which is water. And of course, because of the 2/3 water, the first circle or sphere around the earth is this air, right? That air is blended with the oxygen and water, H2O. So that's there is a diagram, Ibn Arabi's cosmology. I don't know whether you have seen a book written by a Syrian professor, the Ibn Arabi's cosmology. I'll share that with you, a diagram from that, and which is taken from Futuhat. And that's a very beautiful. I think Dr. Ali Hussein's that book also had some of those diagrams. So yeah. Anyway, here the number 7, it says that 7 as the symbol of movement in the universe, renewal within the self. The self, as has been shown, consists of 3 basic psychological systems: cognitive, behavior, affect. The self psychologically has 4 basic positive traits: wisdom, courage, temperance, and justice. And when unity 1 is divided by 7, a recurring decimal is obtained, which is indicated on the greater jihad symbol by the moving line. So if you divide by 1 divided by 7, if any of you have the calculator in your phone, you can actually do just divide 1 divided by 7, and you will find these numbers after decimal: 1, 4, 2, 8, 5, 7. And then after that, it repeats those number. Just 1 divided by 7. You will get this 0.142857, and then 1428. It continues if you put decimals. So that is what she's talking about here. 142857, and as you will find 1 and then 4. So 1, from 1 it goes to 4, and then it goes to 2, and it goes to um, this 1, 4, 2, and then 8, and then 8 goes to 5, and 5 goes to 7. 5 goes to 7, and from 7, and then it starts again, number 1. So 1 goes to 4, 4 goes to 2, 2 goes to 8, 8 goes to 5, 5 goes to 7, and back to 1. And that's how the circle will continue. So, and that's how mathematics works. And that's why this diagram is very valuable, because this was discovered, as you know, by Gurdjieff, from a Dagestani who is a sheikh in Azerbaijan, or in one of the, or Bukhara, I am not sure. There is a big article on it. I'll send to you how Gurdjieff met Dagestan, who is a sheikh of Naqshbandi. So, and he is the one who taught Gurdjieff how this diagram works. Because Gurdjieff couldn't pick up everything, but he missed few things. As a result, he taught his disciples, and disciples just used it for personality purposes. But of course, Lale Bakhtiar did the full research, and as a result, she was able to find other missing components. Anyway, so there are no 3s and 6 and 9s in this decimal, divided 1 divided by 7, and the same numbers are obtained with 1 by 7 plus 1 by 7, and so forth 6 times, and the numbers are the same but all in different order. So although there are no 3s, 6, or 9s, the moment of change line passes through the positive traits at the edges of the triangle located in the center, namely star 9, star 6, star 3. So we will explain all those 3 numbers as well. And number 9 is, though the nurturing process, which is, so she's explaining 9, 6, and 3, those of them. Each of the 3 positive traits of nature may develop an imbalance. So when imbalance develop, this imbalance is of 2 types: an imbalance in quantity of the positive trait, or in the quality. An imbalance in quantity develops into 2 conditions, and an imbalance in quality in terms of positive trait develops into 1 condition. So, and then it talks about those imbalances. The imbalance in quantity is plus sign, which is overdevelopment, or underdevelopment, which is a minus sign, and imbalance of quality is 0, which is undevelopment. So you'll find plus, plus, and then plus, and then minus, minus, and minus. So these appear on the circumference of the circle, the furthest distance from the positive trait near the center. And he explains here all these traits. All the negative traits that developed are innumerable. The most chronic are described in psychoethics as examples. So this is what we are studying, psychoethics. It is to be noted that all 3 imbalances are negative traits, because they are in excess of moderation of the straight path. When we are off the straight path, then of course we fall into imbalance. So 9, 6, and 3 indicate an imbalance in terms of quality of positive trait, and therefore fall outside the circle of self-renewal. So this is the part which is not present in Gurdjieff diagram. Gurdjieff doesn't have any number outside this circle, but this 3, 6, and 9 in this development is outside. As you see here, 9 and then 3 and 6, those are outside. So cognitive system, positive trait is wisdom, which is star 9, and -8, pre-consciousness, knowing that you do not know, pre-consciousness. And then plus over-consciousness, knowing but deceiving the self. And then 09, unconsciousness, not knowing and not knowing what you do not know. And then the cognitive system, once you realize all this, then you can start behavioral change. What behavioral situation? Positive trait is cowardice, and then +4 is excessive anger, and then fear of other than God. This, and then affective system is positive trait is temperance, star 6, apathy, excessive lust, and grief and envy. When you have all these, how you take actions, and she will teach you how to do that. 369. So this is our last page, and this will be our session. Also, maybe we'll be finishing. Okay, this is the last page. 2 page actually. So 369 are the numbers which do not appear in the movement of change line, yet they play a significant role in self-renewal. They symbolize the depravity of positive traits symbolized by 0 when they fall outside the circle of self-renewal, as well as the positive trait itself, star. They are significant numbers to unity because they also produce recurring decimals. They are significant number, those 3. So 1 divided by 3 is .33, and 1, 3, which is 1, 3, 1 by 3. 1 by 3 plus 1 by 3 is equal to 2 by 3, which is .6. And then if you add .6 and .3 is .99, and .99 is the symbol of, as you see here, result of is endless nines. Recurring nines become symbol of unity of self, which is no matter to what extent it perfects nature in its mode of operation. So if you are a perfect man, that's how you achieve 0.99. If you achieve it, that means of your perfection you have achieved. So it is still relation to the creator. 3, 6, and 9 symbolizes the highest traits of balance and centeredness, which is a star, and then as well as depravity of the positive trait in terms of quality 0, and the negative traits 0. They fall outside the circle of self as under development of the positive trait. We'll discuss this later again actually, because at this stage I just wanted to have a touch base on the introduction. So that's all I wanted to cover, and let's go into questions, and then we can finish it. What do you think? You can unmute. Okay.
I think it's really yeah. I'm still absorbing and digesting. So I think the others are still absorbing and digesting because it's yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, basically what I covered is a main diagram, what it means to us, and what is the objective. And once you understand how to use this, then we will review and help each other how to apply this technique.
Mm.
And as I mentioned, the examples of Ibn Arabi from his Ruhul Quds, and also this book from Rumi stories, how Rumi mentioned various things in the Masnavi, those stories of the uh, present, story of the the goldsmith, quite a lot of there, how those Sufis um, managed various things in their lives. She puts them in this diagram, how they managed it, and that's how it has been taught by the sheikh, and that's how she documented for us, for the Western
Mm.
readers. Yeah.
I just wanted to add, like, not add. I just want to. I'm trying to go to the. I basically go into the logical robotic state in these kind of things just to extract everything.
Mm,
And the first thing that hit me in the actual lecture, when she came up with the word Wajh Allah. And then I was going into like the corpus Qur'an, and I'm just trying to find all of the references of what is Wajh Allah, because for me, like I think the old classical Arabic Wajh is like face, but then I was Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah 144, Wajhu Allah. So it is the face, and it's like Wajhu with the HU in the end. Then in Surah Al-Baqarah 272, it says Wajhi with the kasra, Wajhi Allah, the face, which is HI in the end. Then Surah 30, it's Wajha with the kasra on the top of the هي whatever, yeah. So then that one turns into not is the face or the face, it's the countenance. And I'm like, what's countenance in English? Because I don't like these scholarly words. I love things to be broken down into the layman terms, because anything in the Quran is not meant for scholars or learned people, it's meant for everyone. So we have to be able to break down the language that it's acceptable to everyone. Even the word the subtle, not everyone can understand the word subtlety, because it's also used in the term of like an elite kind of term. It's like, oh, he's not that very subtle. And it's used in these kind of cucumber sandwich people circles. And it's like, no, what about if I am, masalan, not a learned man? I never completed high school, and I'm a street sweeper or whatever. Even like the street sweepers I know, I have conversations with them, and I find that they have more intellect and wisdom than someone who is a graduate of the AUC in Cairo, for example. There is a different dynamic because they're more grounded in the root of just the basics. And then once you know just the basic foundation and your feet is touching the ground, this is more connection than someone who's read everything in the whole world, because they can still be so, it's like the donkey carrying so much holy books, but he's still a donkey, you know? It's just appearances in the outside. It has to be something from inside. So the countenance, when I'm getting into the definition, it says facial appearance regarding indication of mood or feeling. So they give an example, a pleasant countenance that puts visitors at ease. So then I was like, subhanallah, yani, when we're even like praying and we have the khushu or whatever, you have that you have the countenance. So you have that, it feels very pleasant. You feel martah, at ease. So then the synonyms of like countenance is expression, look, face, appearance, manner, demeanor, composure, equilibrium, which I was finding like equilibrium related to the Enneagram, because we want to center ourselves, which is it's like the seesaw, but we want to balance it. And then collectedness. Then the verbs are accept, tolerate, favor, support, approve of. So I highlighted three, which was favor, which is a more of an action kind of thing, yes. Then support. Then I was thinking, okay, it's like the seesaw. So in essence, God is supporting this in a way, and he's approving of it because it's only by his, like what you were saying before, it has to come from him for you to overcome your ego. So he's supporting it in a way. Then I think this is another ayah, ayah 39 in Surah 30. It says so in this ayah, I am replacing the word countenance or wajha in the English one. So it's so give the relative. And by the way, I believe every ayah has some hidden context related to everything. When you're going, if it's we're talking about masalan zakah is going to, or we're talking about the enneagram, the same ayah is hitting other points. And subhanallah, he works in some, it's I can't say magic or whatever, but it's beyond magic, you know. That's why it's always beneficial when you think someone is putting magic on you. I always tell my mother, like she always talks about hasad and the ain and the eye and people giving evil eye, and I'm like, why are you afraid of all of these things? You just recite Allah's word is the biggest of magics, you know. It's yani, what I don't understand the concept when you fear all of these things and the devil and all this thing, because something is greater than this. But the ayah goes to give the relative his rights, as well as the needy and the traveler. That is the best for those who desire the support or favor of Allah, and it is they who will be the successful. So I was like, okay, this is hitting the right points then. And then there is another two eyes, but I don't want to carry on with it because I want to just hit some other really beautiful points you were bringing up. I'm all over the place with the notes. I want to bring in Khalil Gibran because I love him a lot. And it was related to the ego as well when you were bringing it up. It was Khalil Gibran says, and God said, love your enemy, and I obeyed him and I loved myself. And this is what the beginning of self development in a way. And the 369, I was just relating it to Tesla, the Tesla, Nikola Tesla, the God numbers, which is perfect because when she starts talking about, she was talking about something called, uh, she says it in three ways. She's like undeveloped, underdeveloped, or overdeveloped. And then I was thinking, okay, so if we're outside the circle, I was thinking of how the creation of frogs. So frogs, before they become frog, they're a tadpole, and before tadpole, they are nothing. So nothingness can't be. It's nothing. You get me? It's not existing yet. So that's why I think in a way it's underdeveloped because it's not even there. But then the whole enneagram, when you were going through number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, it's actually the same development of a fetus. So the ruh has not blown in first. No, there is the blood clot, or there is the inception first, and then there's the blood clot. Then it forms and forms, and the whole stage is as if it's going into the development of the fetus, and then in the end there is the birth of it coming. So subhanallah, even like when we reach number 7, it's as if it's the inception of the ruh, or I don't know. I'm going off. I don't know. But then I was always questioning, okay, why do they use the term spirit and soul? And then it says the vice regent of God. And I was thinking, oh, so is this Gabriel? And then did God give Gabriel like a special skill or a special like a box, whatever? And in this box is the ruh of the people. So then is that a combination of Gabriel's God's essence? God is so powerful that we can't have that purity light. So it has to be filtered down in a way, and the closest thing to us can be angels, because that nur is maybe I don't know where I'm going with this, but that nur is more acceptable to go into us in a way. I'm not using the right words here. And in essence, we have a combination of the gift God gave with Gabriel, because Gabriel is anyway the essence of Allah, and this is the spirit, and that's when we go to the Holy Spirit and the Trinity, whatever. But they got that kind of wrong in a way. They mixed some things up, but it's nearly there. Um, and then from there is the soul, and that soul has the base characteristics of the 9 points of the Enneagram in a way, that you have these base things, but our whole objective is to reach the center of balancing all of the different numbers or something like that. And when we go to, for example, you're saying the one and the four, and the four and the two. So then if I'm, for example, a four, I have to concentrate on the attributes of the one and the attributes of the two and see what are their strengths and their weaknesses. And I have to try and balance my wing, because these are my wings. And it's all about, I have to balance, because I can have a very big wing and I'm like, okay, I can't walk like this all the time. I'm going to always fall down in life, or whatever. So I have to try and balance my wing so that I can be on the straight path, like Surat al-Mustaqim kind of thing.
Mm.
So, please,
Yeah, yeah.
Katina,
Katina
jump
has
right now.
a
I beg you.
question that she raised her. Hi,
Oh,
Katina. You can
yeah.
go
So
ahead.
I just won. This is amazing to me. So what came to me was I was thinking about Unami Tibbs and how that focuses on like the four humors and the Abyssinia. And it brings to mind to me that, constantly you hear that the healing is in the Quran, like the answers are there. It's just one, how do we learn about it? And then, how do you apply it? I love what you said about anger. It made me think of, one of the hadith, I guess, if you're standing and you're angry, sit. And, if you're sitting, then lay down. Um, so it's just, a way to really deal, really, it's with your day to day. It's so like it could be as simple as that, but it can be as vast as now you're going into more of the psychoethics. So you're getting to the root cause of it. You're not just treating the symptom now, you're treating the spiritual cause of basically illness.
Yes.
Um, and I'm very interested. You had mentioned the book by Al Ghazali on the tongue. I would definitely be interested in knowing what that book is.
Yeah,
Um,
I'll post it to you, and that is I have the PDF. Um,
okay.
yeah, I also have it in hard copy. It's called
Mhm.
Kitab al-Afat al-Lisan, the Veins of the Tongue. It's a book 24 of Ilya Ulumuddin. This book.
Okay, the veins of the
Yeah,
tongue.
it's a PDF. If you search it, you will find it in the internet, in the archive. The archive um, uh, where most of the PDFs are, Internet
Okay,
Archive. Just search it with veins of the tongue,
okay,
and then it's basically Abdul Rahman Fitzgerald and Fuad Arsmok. They're the one who translated it from Arabic to English.
okay,
I
great.
guess
Thank
it's available at the Fonds Vitae Publishing House.
Yes, it's a Fons Bita. Fons
Oh,
Bita book.
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah, you'll find the hard copy there, inshallah.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, so and I'm glad. Thank you so much for going over the number system. I'm just amazed, to be honest with you. I'm just like blown away by the whole even mathematical aspect of it. Like it's so encompassing that it's just it's a shame, I think, actually, that the West has broken it and taken a piece of it,
Mm,
because and the piece that they took doesn't even really cover the real healing aspect of it. So I mean, you're bringing in mathematics, you're bringing in philosophy, you're bringing in theology, like because we're not just compartmentalized, you know. So just the beauty in that, I'm blown away. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and also you'll find more references when you read, link it with this Alchemy of Human Happiness, this book, which is it's called Alchemy of Human Happiness, the chapter 367 of Futuhat. So that book also available, and from that book, in the sign one, that video you have watched, which has mention of humors, so mention of this fetus, all this planet. Ibn Arabi mentions when he went to moon, the Adam, the first heaven, and over there resides an angel. Okay, and he is the seventh divine agent. He is in charge of a sperm drop. When a sperm drop meet the egg in the womb, that's when human zygote form, the environment, and then once 120 or whatever that number is, then the angel is sent to bring the spirit into human body. Okay, that is the hadith. I don't know whether you know it. So the angel bring the spirit from alame arwah to alame dunya. So, and then second heaven, which is the Mercury, the planet Mercury, resides the angel who is responsible for fetus in the 6th month. And then if you go to the third heaven, which is the Venus, that is the angel where these four humors, in Arabic it called akhlat, and that's this humors which I didn't read today, but I'll read it and next week, and that is where the personality traits have been discussed. As you see here, yellow vial is choleric, fire, dry, hot. Blood is the second humor, which is called sanguine, air, moist and hot, and phlegm. These are the four things we have in our body. It's all fluid. And black bile is the melancholic. So those are the personality trait linked to humors. So this is only one part of it. Anyway, we will discuss it. And that is, Ibn Arabi says, those humors is linked to planet Venus, where Joseph is there. You know? So anyway, all those sort of things we will give reference, and slowly we'll understand how their position in the solar system has an impact on our body. And that's where Earth is in the orbit of the sun. Because if you look at the orbit, if you divide into four quadrant of that orbit, whenever Earth is in each of this orbit, we have 4 seasons. So I am in south hemisphere and you are in north hemisphere. When you are having summer, I am having winter, because the earth where you are located is depends what season we get. Same with our body, because our body, our spirit is at the center and we are on the periphery. Depending on which part of my circumference I am, my mood changes. So these are the link she put in there, and she had this mapping, how these 12, those, there is a diagram. I don't know whether you are familiar with Ibn Arabi's cosmology and there is a book which is related to, this is the book It's called Mystical Astrology according to Ibn Arabi. I don't know whether you have read this, and there is a diagram there where all those zodiacs, 12 zodiacs are there. I'll send the diagram to you. Depending on which zodiac you are linked to, many things you will understand your psychological and physiological aspects of it. Anyway, those are the things we will try to understand together and see how we can apply it. Because previously I collected all these books and read some of it, but I needed companion because I couldn't do it and I don't have a teacher. So who understand these things? Yeah. So this is why Ibn Arabi actually mentioned, as I said in that Kunho Kitab, that find the friend first who want to do journey with you before you find your sheikh. So this is why I am glad that you guys wanted to participate in this study. Yeah. So we almost finished our 90 minutes window. So maybe we should limit it. So should we do every fortnight or every month? What do you suggest?
I'm up for every week now. This is
Yeah, no, every week will be too much. Yeah.
This is addictive. Yeah. Can we do every day?
No, we can read it. We can read it and share few things here and there in the WhatsApp. But what I'm saying is at least catching up and reviewing
Yeah.
formally, because we are not going to read the whole book. We'll highlight whatever I wanted to highlight, and you can share just like you shared. And I wanted everyone to do the same. In that way, it's a collective reading. Yeah.
I think as a compromise, you guys don't want to do every day, you don't want to do every week, so we do every 2 weeks, you know? Yeah.
Okay,
This
then.
sounds nice to everyone? Because also if we're going to do it every month, this is going to take what? More than 6 months or whatever. So better we cut the time of 6 months to whatever, 3 months, or for example, so that yeah, before we want to complete everything before the hijrah, you know,
Yeah.
or
Okay, that's good.
before
Whatever it is. Yes.
Muharram or something, you know.
Okay. Okay. With that note, then I'll send the invitation fortnightly, and we'll stay on Sunday because Sunday is good for me as well. And maybe this time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's good for,
okay.
I think it's
Yeah,
good,
it's
works out for
good.
everyone good. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
then. Okay. With that note, we conclude the session. Many thanks and for joining. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much.
Warahmatullah.
Salam
Alaikum
alaikum.
assalam.
Wa
Thank
alaikum
Wa alaikum
you.
salam.
salam wa
Thank you
rahmatullahi
so
wa
much.
barakatuh.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Okay.
Thank you.